Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about interview-based questions, which is part one series, and this is particularly for pharmacovigilance. So I'll be discussing 5 questions which are repetitively asked in interviews for particularly in pharmacovigilance. So we'll jump into the topic with 5 more questions to be discussed today about interview-based questions in pharmacovigilance. So first question, how do you define and explain about pharmacovigilance? So what is a pharmacovigilance? As per WHO, how do you define a pharmacovigilance? And what is a basic definition of a pharmacovigilance? This is a basic interview question which has been repeatedly asked in interviews and how we have to answer this. And what is the significance of pharmacovigilance in maintaining the public and patient safety? So public safety and patient safety, what role is pharmacovigilance playing in maintaining or significance of pharmacovigilance in maintaining public and patient safety? And the third question, what are the different regulatory bodies or health authorities across the world who are the people who make sure that the right drugs are coming into market and the right medications are being used and the rational use, or the more serious adverse reactions are being handled correctly and the drugs are being recalled correctly? And what is ICH? Elaborate about ICH and what are the different countries, particularly in your ICH. So we'll be seeing about this 5 questions today. The first question, define and explain the pharmacovigilance. So now how pharmacovigilance is being classified as per WHO. So pharmacovigilance is a science and activities which deals with or which make sure that the 4 important points. The first point, detection. Second point, assessment. Third point, understanding. And fourth point, prevention of adverse events and drug-related risks. So now, detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse events and drug-related risks is considered as pharmacovigilance. Now, if you go carefully, first step is detection of adverse events by an investigator or healthcare professionals who are working in market. And the second one is assessments. How do you assess whether the adverse event is drug related or not? So next one is understanding about the safety specialists who are involved in understanding about the adverse event and drug related problems. So that is about the understanding. And the last one is prevention. How prevention can be done by marketing authorization holder or by regulatory bodies as a precautionary actions or to prevent future adverse reactions related to that particular drug. So now pharmacovigilance is defined as any process which deals with detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse events and drug-related problems is considered as an pharmacovigilance. Now, the next question, what is the significance? What is importance? Why is this pharmacovigilance so spoken, so important, and why pharmacovigilance is playing a major role in public safety and individual patient safety? So how are we going to look into that prospective area we are going to discuss? Pharmacovigilance makes sure it improves or monitors the quality of medications which are being produced and also the safety of the drugs and the effectiveness or efficacy of the drugs which are marketed in the public or public sectors. It also helps identification of the unidentified and unexpected adverse events which were not previously documented, previously identified, and to make sure to assess the risk and benefit. The risk is increasing or benefit is increasing. All this risk and benefit analysis is being properly done or not. So now how pharmacovigilance makes sure the public safety and the patient individual safety. The first one, it monitors the quality of the drugs, safety of the drugs, and also the effectiveness or efficacy of the drugs. It also identifies the unexpected, undetected, or unidentified the adverse reaction. It also identifies or it also helps us to make sure that the risk and benefits ratio is being correctly managed. It also understands about risk analysis and mitigation of particular risks. Now, what is the different regulatory authorities and what is the importance of regulatory authorities? Now, regulatory authorities are government bodies. These are government bodies to establish to carry out the regulatory activities, such as either to process a drug or to release a drug into market or to monitor the adverse effects, to make sure the inspection is being done and to make sure the quality of testing is being done and monitoring of the adverse events and also the drug related problems and monitoring of the drugs is being carried out by the regulatory bodies. So regulatory bodies are the people who approves the drug, who monitors the drugs, who recall the drug, who make sure that the quality and effectiveness of the drug is being maintained correctly for that particular drug products. Examples of different regulatory bodies. Some of interview-based questions tell me about some regulatory bodies. In US, it is called as FDA, which is Food and Drug Administration. In Europe, it is called as EMEA, which is European Medical Agencies. In UK, particularly, it is called as MHRA, Medicine and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agencies. In WHO or in Japan, it is called as MHL. And in India, it is called as CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Control Organization. So these are the different regulatory bodies who takes action on approving the drugs and making sure that the quality of the medications are up to the mark in market. So now what is ICH? Elaborate the ICH and what are the participating countries in your ICH. So ICH is basically ICH full form is International Council on Harmonization for Technical Requirement for Registration of Pharmaceutical Products for Human Use. So International Council for Harmonization. So it's a council which makes sure the harmony, it makes sure that right guidelines and right ethical principles are being used for conducting preclinical studies, quality studies, or the clinical trial studies. It's a unique project that brings three regulatory bodies into one location, one place. So the three different countries are Japan, US, and Europe. An expert from industry also to discuss about the scientific and technical expertise prior to your product registrations. The participating countries are Japan, Europe, and US. So the ICH full form is International Council on Harmonization of Technical Requirement for registration of pharmaceutical use for human use. And there are three main countries. The first one is Japan, the second one is US, and the third one is Europe. And now how ICH is being categorized. So ICH has mostly four important chapters or four important categories. So ICH codes are being assigned accordingly as per the four codes. The first one is quality, which is Q, and the second one is safety, which is S, and third one is efficacy, which is E, and fourth one is multidisciplinary. Our GCP guidelines and our regulations for conducting clinical trials comes into your efficacy or E guidelines. So now quality, it takes about your good manufacturing practices, which is your conduct of stability studies or threshold for the testing of impurities. So which comes as quality. And safety, it talks about the guidelines which are used for understanding toxicity studies like carcinogenicity or genotoxicity or nephrogenicity or nephrotoxicities. And the efficacy mainly focuses on how you design and conduct and record and report of clinical trials. And also it deals with your clinical trials and pharmacovigilance and statistical considerations, pediatric studies, geriatric studies, and also the clinical study reports, and also your pharmacovigilance guidelines also comes into your efficacy. Multidisciplinary, it includes the medical terminologies like MEDRA, and it also includes the regulatory guidelines or regulations which has to be submitted for the regulatory affairs, which is common technical document, or ESTRI information, which is electronic standard for transfer of regulatory information. So these are the QSEM. So quality, safety, efficacy, and regulatory or multidisciplinary aspects. And about coming back to Clinosol, Clinosol is an organization which focuses on training of freshers and experienced people. We train on clinical research, CDM, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, regulatory affairs, and clinical SaaS. And we give add-on courses also. We give certification courses for experienced people also. These are the stats for 2023. And these are the contact numbers for Clinosol. Thank you for listening. And I'll be meeting you one more time with interview-based questions set 2 of pharmacovigilance. Till then, thank you so much.